Hello, boys and girls. This is Jason Moore with MTGOacademy.com and a brand new episode of Dime a Dozen. Now, we're back with the Bird Keepers deck. I was very happy with the results we were getting with the deck. However, I felt that I needed to make some adjustments in order to improve it. So, there are a few changes here in the main deck. We're still running the 21 lands, but we are opting for some Alara lands today as opposed to the Masters Edition. And the first change is in our 1-drops. We've changed the 2 Lawkeeper to a split of Gold Meadow Harrier and Gideon's Lawkeeper. And I have to thank Special Kyle, an acquaintance of mine on MTGO, for suggesting this. And the reason we're doing this is because these 2 cards are exactly the same. They do the exact same thing, but by playing one of each, we get around some narrow instances where something like Echoing Decay or Echoing Truth would punish us for playing 2 copies of one rather than a split of each. So a subtle change, but certainly a worthwhile change. And finally, we've taken out the Attended Knights and we've replaced them with 3 Aven Riftwatcher. So now we've got even more birds in the Bird Keepers deck. This is of course a soldier, which still benefits our War Falcon plan. But the reason that the Riftwatcher has come into the deck is because I realized that I was making some of my other matchups a little too sketchy, a little too unfavorable. Matchups like Goblins and Mono Black Control. Those are matchups that White Weenie should have an advantage in. And bringing in the Rift Watchers here helps a lot of matchups. It's perfectly serviceable against fairies. It's another 2/3 flyer. And in the mirror match, it gives us life point swings. And I'd like to think of this card as additional copies of course Skyfisher, because their power and toughness, along with the flying, impacts the board in pretty positive ways for us. So other than that, the main board is the same. We've made a few changes in the sideboard, beginning with Core Sanctifiers. And this is replacing the Disenchants. I've decided that with 21 land, we can hedge our bets and play these 4-drops in the deck because they do provide so much more value. Getting that 2/3 body down on the battlefield, in addition to having the disenchant effect, I think is going to be worth the trade-off that we would get from disenchant. And the bonus here is that we also can bounce this with Core Skyfisher so that we can have multiple instances of this effect. It's going to be a bit slower, but it also furthers our game plan of developing a board position and attacking the opponent's life total with our creatures. The other change is that we dropped the Viridian Longbow for now. I wanted to have a little more diversity in terms of cards that can hit multiple matchups. So we have a 4th Aven Riftwatcher, and this is going to be for Goblins. It can also come in against a number of creature decks in the format. There is a mono red burn deck that occasionally shows up in the format. And this even works out that we bring this in against Storm, just due to the number of cards that we take out in that matchup. So this gives us a little bit more of a life total against Grape Shot. Not very impactful there, but it definitely has an impact in some of the other matchups. And then we brought in 2 Prismatic Strands. And this card is an absolute all-star. I've been playing White Weenie for a very long time, and this card continues to impress me. It comes in against a number of decks, including Storm, other creature decks. You can even bring this in against Affinity if you like, to counteract their flings and their galvanic blasts. This card is great. So hopefully we can demonstrate some of its implications. Everything else is basically the same. So, the overall concept of the deck and the mana curve has not changed. And I hope that you will enjoy the games. We're going to go into a daily event with this, and stay tuned.